ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Roundtable. You're listening to us on the Broadway Podcast Network, or you're watching us right here on the Roundtable YouTube page. We also partnered with Broadway World. So, hey, Broadway World friends and family. Well, I'm really excited because in these times, we need music, cultural heritage, equality. We need to be proud of where we come from more than ever. I was taught by my grandfather, who came here at 18 from Europe, how proud he was to be an American, and he was welcomed here with open arms. And we need to welcome the cultures and people of all different places. And Sharon, who's got this gorgeous voice, who uses her voice for good and has an amazing project coming to Lincoln Center, to Alice Tully Hall, with the Azrieli Music Prizes from the foundation. I want to know all about it. Sharon Asrieli, welcome to the Roundtable.
Robert, thank you so much for having me. Thank you. What a beautiful introduction.
I appreciate that. And I mean that. What you're doing, we need what you're doing in this world more than ever. So before we get started about the music, what can you say about how this came to be and why this is important in 2024?
Wow, I think it's incredible, the timing of things, right? And how things happen. And it's so how I don't know, why is it important now? That speaks for itself. How did it come to be? It's funny because so it started as a very small family foundation, and we weren't giving very much to arts and music. It was very sort of difficult for me to convince my father. Well, it was difficult for him to convince him of anything. He was a tough, self-made man. I'm sure you know all about that. And it was so, but I went my way. I became a singer. And part of becoming a singer was I also had to support myself. And so I became a cantor along the way. So I knew a little bit about Jewish music. And it's wonderful because it has everything in it. And, Broadway, well, all of Broadway is Jewish music.
Literally, yes.
Let's face it, right? So when the time came, to give back and to convince him we've got to give something, I couldn't say, well, let's give to singers, because I am a singer. So that felt like it was a little too self-serving. So I said, okay, let me think about what does not exist right now in the world. And at that time in Canada, what did not exist was a competition for the creation of new music. And so I said, okay, we'll start with that. And so we started out with this competition for the creation of new classical music, for the creation of new compositions of Jewish music. And that was something that I felt comfortable with, because I could actually judge in the pre-screening. We of course, we have juries of really famous composers and conductors that we asked to come in, and we're really grateful that such amazing people are willing to judge from all around the world. And we have amazing quality, as evidenced by the fact that our winners are Juno winners, which is the equivalent of the Grammy in Canada. And so that's how it started. We started with a Canadian composition of new Jewish music, and then we added a Canadian prize for new Canadian music, which is very interesting, because I could tell you what is Jewish music, but I can't really tell you what is Canadian. So I made up that prize, and I said, okay, what's Canadian music? Who knows? Is it spoons? Is it French Canadian? It's fascinating. It's really fascinating. Yeah. So that's our second prize. And then this year we added international music. So our first winner, which is going to be in October of 2024, is actually from Mexico, and he's adding Aztec music, and he's adding, heritage music from Mexico. So that's fascinating, I think.
All of this is fascinating that you took the idea. I think what people don't realize, I was just having a conversation with a young filmmaker. She was 19 and she was trying to make a movie. To be an artist, as you know, costs money. There's no there's no big six-figure job out there for a starting artist.
Yeah.
And to create art, to make your compositions be orchestrated or to be put on stage, or to record music in a recording studio usually comes at a great cost with not much return. You've put out albums, you've produced shows. You don't retire off of your Spotify check when the music is streamed. So this ability allows people to create the next generation of artists.
Right. Oh, it's a huge prize. It's amazing, and it keeps. Well, it's. I think we're stopping at the 4th prize now, but it really puts people on the map, and it's so exciting. It's amazing to go into the theater and hear these new works of music. It's really something.
Well, if you're listening to us, AzrieliFoundation.org is where you can get all the information about it, and you can get your tickets, and you can see the event as well coming up. What can you explain to us about the night? What is an evening there going to be like?
Okay, so what happened is we created these prizes, and then we said we don't want the first time you hear them to be the last time. So what happens is that organizations can apply and get money to perform the prize winning works. And so this is going to be the 3rd time. What happened with this particular series, which is the 10th anniversary of the works, is that the winner of the Jewish prize happened to be a very, very difficult piece of music, and also is cantorial. They're the Psalms. And it just turned out, I promise it wasn't planned that way, that the only person that really could sing them was me.
Perfect.
They're very, very, it took me 8 months to learn them. And they're written in Hebrew. And so I happen to be the most qualified person to sing them. And it turned out that we were just coming out of the pandemic, and everybody was panicking. They were like, oh my God, we have to find you an understudy. What if you get sick? God forbid, what do we do? And we couldn't find me an understudy. There was nobody, who could. It took me, it's such a difficult piece of music. It took me 8 months to learn this music. It's crazy. So I'm like, really, like, now the performance is March 28. I've come to New York. I'm like, no alcohol, no fried food. No, I mean, you know how it is. It's like, you live like a nun, right?
You live like a nun.
Everybody in our business knows that's what it is.
What you eat. Yes. All of those things.
Everything is sleep. Anyway, so what it is it's the 3rd performance of these works. We performed the first one, which was the premiere in Montreal, October of last year. And then we went to London in October. Yes. So it was the first one was October. Then a year later, we were in London just now. And now we are here at March 28 at Alice Tully Hall, which is for me an amazing experience, because I graduated from Juilliard, and in 1991, you probably weren't even born.
I sure was. I just turned 40. So yeah, I was here. I was around.
And I have not sung at Juilliard since then, at Alice Tully Hall since then. So for me, it's a big deal.
It is a really big deal. I give everyone that went to Juilliard so much credit. I was accepted into the pre-Juilliard program, the first musical theater program that ever existed. That's going back to 1992 when I just turned 10 years old, and Burton Rouser ran the program, and I chickened out, Sharon. I was too afraid to go through with it because it is the most prestigious musical school, and the stories about how hard it is and how much work it is. But you literally have taken your education there and had a career that you have sung all around the world. And
yeah, my father said no music, no voice lessons unless you get into Juilliard, which was a catch-22. That's how tough my father was. And so it took me 3 auditions to get into Juilliard.
3 auditions. Do you remember what song, what classical piece you sung to get into
the whole, you had to have 5. And no, because I had to do it 3 years in a row. So I don't remember. I'm kidding. I just remember I was so depressed the first 2 times that I had to be picked up off the floor. but I just kept going back. They must have said, this poor girl.
And now you come back to Lincoln Center
Mhm.
with your own programming, performing these original works.
That's something,
And
right?
with an
Yeah.
organization and foundation in your name, your family's name, and
Mhm.
legacy lives on with this work. It is so beautiful.
But see, really, when you think of, when you put it that way.
No, it's the truth. It is the truth. Absolutely. I'm very moved by. I'm an Irish Italian Catholic boy from Jersey, but my grandfather did come here at 18. He did come here with nothing. He did. There is a generation of our ancestors who worked very hard. I know your father worked very hard.
My father's a Holocaust survivor.
And a Holocaust survivor.
Yeah,
And
came with $60 in his pocket.
see, that's $60,
Mhm.
and leaving I've probably seen unspeakable things, and lived a very tough, hardworking life for your siblings and your family. When you get up every day and you pay it forward with this organization, and you see that this is getting put towards the next generation, what can we all learn from the message that you were taught about doing good works and paying it forward?
So the first thing I would say is just don't give up. Don't give up. Don't you feel the same way? Don't, if it's something that you love, don't give up. And the second thing I would say is be kind. Be kind to everybody. I think that's what we're seeing in the world today. We need kindness. I think people, yes, we need music. Absolutely. That's why we exist, right? We need music. But mostly we need kindness. What do
Uh,
you think?
I absolutely think we all need to be kind and accepting of one another. I remember my grandfather, um, at the end of his life. I said, "You came here with no money. You did not speak English. You lived with a distant relative in Brooklyn." I said, "And how
My
did you do
father,
it?"
yeah, my father did that too.
And he said, "You don't be scared. You get up and you put one foot in front of the other and you just keep going." In the very thick Italian accent that he had. But
Right.
that's what I think of when I think of a tough day, or it's nothing compared to what they've been through. We live, Sharon. We are looking in the West End. There's Jewish actors that are getting threatened and not allowed to leave the theater. We are living in a time where there's war in the Middle East, where there's unspeakable amount of um, of hate crimes against the Jewish community right here in the United States in 2024.
It's
What
unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. So what can what is there even to say about, your history, your family's history, and now the times that we're living in? How can we support? What can we do?
Wow, that's a tough question, Robert.
And
Do you have any? Okay, so I mean, because I hear, it's so funny, right? I hear my mom, and she would say, "Oh, be quiet. Don't make waves," right? Because she was brought up in the Depression, right? And it's so funny. I don't. And here we are in New York, and in New York, I see that people are afraid, and the ones that have the loudest voices are the perpetrators against the Jews. And that to me is the most scary. And then you have proof of rapes and brutality and hate crimes, and nobody is paying attention. We had proof from the very beginning. It was on their own GoPro videos. They were proud of the proof. And even before Israel ever retaliated, there was joyous celebration of the brutality. And so the education and the proof, it's something is wrong, right? Something has gone wrong with education of the generation that needs to come up and stand up for what's right. Things have gone awfully wrong. And I don't know. I wish I could answer you and say, "Oh, we need to do X, Y, and Z." I wish I could tell you. And I've got kids who, who don't know what to do either, because
It floors me. I was in New York City when Parade opened on Broadway, and there were protesters in the middle of New York City on Broadway, where, we're not talking about Tulsa, Oklahoma, or, somewhere where we think we can, living in this area, we can think we're very, everyone gets along, everyone lets it, we if we are quiet and we stand on the sidelines, I feel like we allow these voices of hatred to live. And that's why what you're doing and creating art, I feel so passionately. I'm sure you feel the same way, that art.
And by the way, in October, when I was in London, it was the day after. It was the next day after the Day of Rage that was called for by Hamas. And I thought to myself, I actually bought a bulletproof vest. And I thought to myself, am I going to sing these pieces? Am I going to sing this song on the stage in London in a bulletproof vest? And I thought, and I actually put it on, right? And it was too heavy. It was too heavy. I'm like, I can't sing in this thing, because it's classical music. You actually you need to really breathe. It's not like you're wearing a mic.
But right, no, sure, but that's incredible though. That's what the thought. That's where we are.
I know. And I said, I can't. I just can't. And then how many, and here's what's so beautiful about the Azrieli Music Prizes, right? So what were the prizes this year? One was the Harlap, which is the Jewish prize, which is out of the depths I call unto thee. It's these Psalms. And the Psalms are, come on, God, what are you doing? Like, where are you? That's what we're saying, which is like so appropriate. It was amazing. And the next one, which I was so happy won, because, I don't have any control over who wins, right? I'm out of it. I created them, and then they have a life, which is so wonderful. The next one was our Purim. Do you know the Jewish holiday of Purim? You get to eat like these funny triangle shaped, they're called hamantaschen. Oh, I'm so sorry about that.
Please.
I'm so technologically stupid. I don't know how to
No,
turn off.
you're great.
Anyway, so this is the story of Queen Esther, who was a Jew, and she was chosen by King Ahasuerus, but it's actually a Persian story, okay? And it's how the Jews were saved by this gorgeous woman who was chosen to be the wife of King Ahasuerus. And it's a Persian guy, not Jewish, who chose to write this story. And he wrote it in a dialect of Persian that nobody knows, that nobody's ever heard before. It's an antiquated version, really, really, really cool. And he got a woman it's a woman singing it in this version of I want to say Arabic, but it's not. It's Farsi or some really cool dialect, and she's playing the sitar or something like that. It's an ancient Persian kind of a sitar, and accompanied by classical orchestra. It's a marvelous piece. You're going to love it. You're going to come, right, Robert? You have to.
Yes, I have to be there.
It's really, really cool.
I want to hear you sing.
Thank you. Anyway, but this piece is like exactly what the Azrieli prizes are for. So it fits in the category of Jewish music because it is a Jewish biblical story, but it's in Persian, or a Persian dialect, and it is sung by a woman who, when she was first hired to sing, she was like, "Oh my God, my family! You're a Jewish organization. My family is not going to be happy that I'm singing for a Jewish organization." And we're like, "Well, I'm sorry, that's what we are."
But that's the kind of piece, that's the kind of thing that art, and that's amazing.
Yes, and he came to us afterward, and he said in London, he said, I am so grateful that we went on with the concert, and that we did the concert, and that you gave the musicians work, and that we all worked together. And this is what music and art is. This is the beauty of music. And in this difficult time, it's more important than ever. It was amazing. It was so beautiful.
I'm very moved by the work of an artist and somebody who uses their art to move social justice and change and make things equal. Because when I went to acting school, my acting teacher said being an artist is a noble cause because it literally documents history. Like, we look back in time and we see movies and films and music and television that makes us think of another time. And that's what this generation that you're supporting is going to document for us all.
Listen, you can only do your small thing. You cannot, you only have to be where you are right now and do what you do. You can't hope for more, right? That's all.
Well, you're very modest because you have a doctorate from the University of Montreal, and you have studied this. You have performed literally operas that are in many languages all around the world. And you may have to come over and help me decorate my new house, Sharon, because I know
that's my
quite the history of interior design and home and all of the writing articles and photo shoots and everything for magazines. And you are a real Renaissance person. You are an artist.
Don't ask me to add up your check after supper.
I understand. Hey, we all have. I get it. I don't
know which side of the brain it is, but like one side is totally overdeveloped.
No, I listen. I, as an actor and as somebody who gets to talk to amazing people like you, I understand. And my partner is a banker, manages Chase Banks, and we're buying a house. And he calls me and he says, "We got the paperwork for the house. What did you think?" And I said, "I have no idea what any of that means."
Like, give it to him and let him do that, and then you do the pretty. That's right.
That's the way of the world. So if we buy tickets, or we can buy tickets and come see your event.
Honey, I'll give you tickets. Just
people can support, and people can find out more information at the website Azrieli Foundation.
Or you can go on Alice Tully. I think it's on Alice Tully's website too. It should be on.
Yeah. It sure is, and it's on Alice Tully's website as well. It's March 28th at 7:30. The Orchestra of St. Luke's. You can get your tickets. You can call the box office. Go ahead.
And the conductor is the wonderful Steven Mercurio. If anybody knows Steven Mercurio, he's amazing, and he's worked with Andrea Bocelli, and he's amazing.
Elliot Forrest is the host of the evening.
Oh, yes, from QXR. Yeah.
From QXR. The box office number there is 212-721-6500. If you're listening to us, 212-721-6500. Or go to lincolncenter.org and you can get your tickets. Or if you go to the website of the foundation, you can click and get your tickets automatically as well. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to have to get a nice outfit, Sharon. I'm ready.
I don't even know what I'm wearing yet. I don't know.
Oh, but you are singing, so we're ready for the full experience. And thank you for spending time, and thank you
so much. I'm so happy to meet you, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
I've never been to Montreal only to Niagara Falls, Sharon.
Oh, well, Montreal's wonderful in the summer. You have to come up.
Okay, that's a deal. That's a promise. Congratulations! Thank you for starting this. Thank you for supporting new art. And thank you for being such a beautiful artist yourself.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.